Hey Stacy, I think just as Eric kind of noted and you noted for you the process of sorry, I'm going back through the thread here. For you, the occasion of unnatural application when it comes to dealing with like financial transactions. I actually had a situation where I was working in education. It was a management role, but obviously, well, at least for me, it was a field where I didn't have as much familiarity in, so I was learning a new craft. But it became really clear, kind of halfway into being in that position, that I was very much being overworked and underpaid for what I was doing. So in that process, I think it's Brown in the reading that we did talks about the brainstorming process. Is it brainstorming? Jeez. I didn't want to write in the book, but I think I'm going to start having to do some highlighting. Yes, brainstorming on page 83. I had to start actually brainstorming and kind of looking at like some of my colleagues and all of the similarities and aches and pains that we were going through. And I started kind of asking them like, well, is this something that's pretty normal? And they're like, yeah, this is what we do. We've been doing this for years. And I'm like, it's not normal. Like it's not okay. So I actually kind of came up with like an action plan of how they could better the organization, because I think in the time I was there, it had only been around for like 5 years. So I still consider them a startup. So instead of being somebody that was just like, this is the problem, I actually was like, these are solutions. I think that we could be a better organization if, you had these processes, people were brought in and were trained this way, that they actually had there was like, I think a program, like assistant program managers that were not paid very well, and they had the same job responsibilities as area managers, which I felt it was not fair. So I kind of came up with a program that they would assist the area managers, which would help us with our workload and not really be given school responsibilities. And then hire more area managers. In that turn, it would give them flexibility and give us help with recruiting and all of these things. So I laid it out in this like 2 to 3 page scenario of how this process would work, how they would help us with recruiting, how they would help us in the schools, how they would learn the client relations. And so then they could get promoted. And then I pitched like, how they could help me get a raise, and if they didn't want to do that, how I should be dropped down to an hourly employee and then be able to get overtime pay. And now in Chicago, if you're not aware of how like the restaurant industry works, now I'm in restaurant industry, if you're not making a certain amount of money, you get overtime pay. And so I just don't know if they didn't perceive that very well, knowing that I kind of was just very knowledgeable of like, somebody being in there for about like 8-9 months, just knowing things that were not going very well in that organization with the knowledge that I had. And I don't think that they perceived that well. Mind you, I didn't stay. I found a new position, but, to be somebody that came in for 11 months and saw all that and was able to say, this is what needs to be executed so we can be successful. And yeah, I wasn't scared. I was like, I have a great resume. I can probably find a job somewhere else, but it did take me time to be able to like, have the guts to say, I'm going to give them this action plan, and whether they perceive it well or not, I'm going to start looking for employment. But yeah, it's definitely something that I've had to really gain the courage to say, this is who I am. These are the skills I have. I can help you become a great organization. And if you don't see that, then I don't think I can continue to be a support system for you. So definitely something that if you need help being that person to champion yourself for that, Stacey, I'm your girl.